Hello and welcome to Forever Wild, the television program dedicated to environmental education in the Horry County schools. I'm Ben Rokiel Abercrombie. Today we're going to be checking out some common sense strategies for wilderness survival for students, as well as some parents out there. If you are ever interested in wilderness survival, or maybe staying a little bit longer in the woods than you anticipated on a day trip or a trip into the wilderness where you didn't anticipate getting into an emergency situation, how you would handle yourself for up to 72 hours. In the first episode here, actually the first part of this episode will be dedicated to the equipment necessary to get yourself through effectively through a 72-hour period, which is the average stay in the wilderness for somebody on an extended rescue mission in the United States. The second part of our episode will be actually how you apply that material in the woods when you finally figure out that you're lost, daylight is fading, and you've got to survive on your own, in the dark, possibly alone, for up to 72 hours. This is a good episode for any family member to watch, for kids to watch, or even older people. Anybody that has any situation that you get into that can be an emergency, this is a good episode to watch. So come along and let's take an outdoor survival adventure. The first step in practical wilderness survival for children, or for adults for that matter, is good common sense and good pre-trip planning. With a little bit of pre-trip planning, the right equipment, and the right know-how, you can survive on your own as well for an extended stay in the wilderness. What we're going to do first, in our first survival trip tip to you guys, before you ever step out of your vehicle, before you ever leave your home, here's what you should have. This goes for any kids that want to go out and explore an area they're not familiar with, or any parent that's kind of going out even for a day hike out in the woods, even if you think you know where you are. You should always write your name down, or the names of people in your party, first and last. You should write where you are going. You should write when you expect to arrive back at your destination point, like back at your vehicle. And you should write down your emergency contact information. This information would be the closest relative that will be easily available, their telephone number, your cell phone number, if you're in the field where you can be reached, but sometimes cell phones don't work, so that's not always the best contact, but put it there anyway. The address of your nearest person that can be of help to you, and the medical info and the allergies, etc., that you have in any of your party's history. So let's say you have an allergic reaction to bees, and you forgot your EpiPen, your epinephrine pen. That would be something searchers and rescuers would need, good information that they would need on the ground level near the site where you were lost when you go into an area to go exploring. The biggest tip of all is always let somebody else know that you and your party are going somewhere. Tell them where you're going to be going and when you expect to be back. Make sure that that third party knows that, and that is your first best tip to practical survival, especially with kids. Knowing where you're going, having somebody else know your plans and routines and when you expect to be back. So I'm going to take my basic emergency plan that we've just outlined there, and I'm going to put it in this Ziploc bag. This is a good little tip for you. Put it in a Ziploc bag. I love Ziploc bags for survival. They're very, very practical, simple means of survival equipment in today's modern age. Fold them down like that. Push all the air out. That's a watertight sealed bag. And all you got to do is you got to slip it right up under your windshield wiper blade. So we're going to step over here, and I'm going to put it under my windshield wiper blade in my vehicle. Right there. So now if anybody has a question to where you are, there's your contact information, where you're going, when you plan to arrive back. All the emergency information is right there at their fingertips. That is a critical element, and probably the number one element a lot of people don't do that end up in a survival situation for an extended period of time, is they forget to write those little simple details down and have it in an easily located location near their vehicle or where they point of entry into the wilderness. Okay, now we're going to go over a couple of other little pre-trip things that we need to look at before we even go into the woods. Let's check those out right quick. There's a really practical way to go about wilderness survival, and it all starts in the pre-trip planning phase. Now, during your pre-trip planning phase, you need to have a basic minimum supply of equipment for the modern-day survivalist. Now, can you ultimately get to the level of primitive survival that you've seen on some of these other television programs? Sure you can. But most of your average people out there don't have the skills necessary to cut a piece of bark out and use it, for example, for a basket. Or maybe make friction fire using a bow drill the first time they try it. Believe me, I've practiced this many times. I have a hard time doing it myself. Now, you may be better at that than that. I mean, you can always try primitive techniques. This is practical, modern-day survival. As a matter of fact, we base a lot of this on U.S. military survival information. So here's what we're going to do. I want to go through a basic, simple, practical, little simple survival kit that everybody ought to have in their car as well as on their person with them whenever they go out into the field at all for any reason. This should be handled while you're mountain biking, kayaking, any adventure activity you're doing, even a simple walk in the woods that could turn at a moment's notice into a little life-threatening situation. You need to have some basic equipment. And here's some basic equipment that we use out here at the center. First piece of equipment I always like to bring, and one that brings peace of mind, is a self-generating flashlight. We call this a self-generating flashlight because it has a magnet inside it, and it has a coil inside that, around the outside of the magnet. As you know from electric current, and when you shake this light, it creates a magnetic field from that magnet passing between that copper coil, and that magnetic field creates electricity, which is stored in a little electrical diode up front up here. And that electricity can be discharged through a LED, which means a light-emitting diode, a little light. Basically, it's almost like a bulb, except it's a little electronic device. You can't see it out here today, but in your camera lens, if I shine it right at it, you can kind of see the light coming off of this flashlight. This light has absolutely no batteries. It costs less than $10. It's a waterproof flashlight. It floats, and it's darn near indestructible. I mean, you could run it over and probably break it, but anything short of that, you can drop it, hit it against trees, whatever. It's really a tough little flashlight. They're super good, and they are available at most department stores. It is a super good addition to any survival kit. Self-generating flashlight. Don't need batteries. You can stay out as long as you want and use it. Okay. Second item I like to have. I like to have a lighter. Now, you can have a flint and steel, and I'll show that equipment to you as we go on through the program. We'll show that, matter of fact, here in just a minute. But a lighter is a modern-day survival piece of equipment. Basically, it's our modern-day version of flint and steel. We have a piece of steel right here. It rotates against a little flint, and it creates a spark, which comes through a gas, and you end up with a flame right there. And believe me, that little bit of magic right there could be the difference between life and death in the field. I always like to bring a lighter. You can get these things wet after they dry out in the sun a little while. You can just light away. Just go for it. Okay? Something else you always need. This is something I like to bring out in the field as well. I like to bring a couple of good-sized trash bags. Now, these trash bags can be used for many purposes, and we'll show you how to use these trash bags later on in the program. But I always like to bring a couple with me, okay, for wilderness survival purposes. I like to bring a square of tinfoil, and a square of tinfoil has been packed pretty tightly. This is probably 4 or 5 feet laid out square of basically just Reynolds wrap, just good old basic all-American tinfoil. Roll it out, put it in a little square like that. It can be used for many purposes, and we'll show those later in the program. I always carry a couple of Ziploc bags. These things are also another multi-purpose tool that we can show you multiple uses for in the field later on. But it's a very good addition to any survival kit. Also, you need to have all of this equipment packed into a Ziploc bag. Okay? There's 2 more bits of equipment, actually 3 more that are ultimate. The next one I'm going to go through is a multi-purpose tool. It's very important in the field. It's more of a comfort issue as well as when you want to get fire started, it helps you a lot. Have good, dry toilet paper. And anybody who's gone on the field for an extended period of time without toilet paper can tell you the benefits of modern-day toilet paper. I think that's one of the most amazing inventions ever. If you go without it for a while, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. One more thing, too. I like to bring a few Band-Aids. just simple Band-Aids. Okay, you can bring duct tape as part of this equipment list. There are a lot of things we kind of left off, but as far as a basic, simple survival kit, this may be your bare minimum to go like on a day hike trip out in the field. You need to carry these pieces of equipment with you. I always carry some type of magnetic compass with me. It's not necessary in a survival kit, but it sure does make land navigation a whole lot easier than not having one with you. The one I usually carry has got a magnetic, is a magnetic water-filled compass. It's called a map compass, or you can use another type of compass called a lensetic compass. It's more of a military-grade compass. This compass has got a magnifying glass right here in the line of direction of travel arrow right here that allows you also an alternative means of starting a fire. It's really cool. So it's a good little survival piece of equipment. It's held on a lanyard that is worn around your neck when you're in the field. So if you're out in a land navigation situation, just keep it around your neck like that. Keep a compass on you. It'll pay big dividends if you need it. Last but not least, I brought my horn out here to demonstrate any kind of noise maker. You need basically to carry a whistle. And what I like to do is carry a little BB whistle, the old-timey, simple gym coach whistle that you see every gym coach have in every school in America. Pick it up, blow it. It's a very loud noise-making device. 3 blasts of any type is a universal signal for emergency rescue purposes. So if you blow that whistle 3 times, bleep, 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 or if you were to blow my horn 3 times, that would be a universal signal for emergency rescue operators operating in the area to know your whereabouts and your location. Your voice will wear out very quickly in the field if you keep yelling, help, help, help. It may only last 20 minutes to a couple of hours. Whereas you can blow on a horn or you can blow on a whistle for a very, very extended period of time. Now, I realize this is a very big horn and a lot of people aren't going to take something that big on a survival mission. But chances are the best thing to do is just get a simple gym whistle. Put it around a lanyard, put it around your child's neck when you go out in the field. That way they'll have a way to communicate back and forth with your camp party out of voice range, like up to a mile and mile and a half in some lessly wooded situations. You can contact people a half a mile away in a heavily wooded situation with a whistle or some kind of noise-making device. Don't use an air horn. Air horns are used for boating purposes only. Now you could use an air horn, but it's going to run out quickly and you're not going to be able to recharge it in the field. So use something that uses lung power if you're going to use a communication signal in the field. They really pay big dividends. So we got our flashlight. We have rubber gloves that are also multi-purpose tools, a couple of large 50-gallon size trash bags or bigger, Ziploc bags, Band-Aids, tinfoil, toilet paper, compass, magnetic compass, and a noise maker. That should be your bare minimum equipment that you carry with you wherever you go. If there's even the remotest possibility of you getting lost or getting stranded in an area, this should always be packed in the back of your car, okay? It gives me a little bit of comfort to know that I've got this little basic bit of equipment to at least help me through the night in a pinch. Okay, first aid. When you're talking survival, you better know first aid, especially wilderness first aid. And there's a couple of really basic rules of wilderness first aid. And number 1 rule is be prepared. Just like the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. The more prepared you are at the beginning of a trip, the better you'll be able to handle an emergency situation when it comes up. The first way to be prepared is prepare your mind, okay? And that's what we're doing in this video, a little bit helping you out there. Prepare your mind for any situation that can come along. The second thing you need to do is you need to start stocking up on a little bit of basic equipment. Here's some basic equipment that we use in the field. We use Benadryl gel for allergic reactions on the skin. Now you wouldn't want to drink that, of course, but you can use it for any topical reaction that would be on top of your skin. You can get generic forms of this stuff. It's good to have in the field. Fights bee stings, allergic reactions to plants, other things of that nature. Really good stuff. We bring burn ointment. That is a good thing to relieve burns in the field. Burns are common in the field. When you're under survival and a little bit more of a stressful situation, burns do occur sometimes because you'll be working around and in fire a lot. We bring hydrocortisone. This is a really good anti-itch ointment. It's good for any kind of allergic reaction as well. So that's 3 different things you can use for allergic reactions or burns. Bright light, this is a aromatic ammonia. This is actually something that is used as a smelling salt. If somebody was to pass out for unknown reasons, you can rub a little bit of that in their nose and woo, it'll wake you up. Right now my eyes just open up because I hit that bright light ammonia real quick. Wow, boy. Neosporin. Neosporin is a good antibacterial. If you get a cut on your hand, you can use that, but always wash things in the field. Okay, if you look right here, antiseptic gels. Any modern day survival kit ought to have an antiseptic gel pack in it. I would have that in my first aid kit with me. Some type of tape or gauze that is necessary in some conditions. In a minimal kit, you probably need at least one little half roll of that. Of course, you can see poking out here a little bit. You can see our good old trusty rubber gloves. Can be used for 2 or 3 different reasons. First reason being what the glove was designed for. Putting your hands in there. And it keeps antiseptic. It keeps your wounds from getting any kind of bacteria in them, especially if you have a major cut or lesion on your hand or arm or on your part of your body in the field. Second, this little kit right here is important. This one could save your life. And I want you to bring the camera up real close for this, Brian. Come on in here. I know you can zoom in close, but I want you to get real close for this one because I want you to see my hands. This is what's called the Sawyer First Aid Kit for snake bites. There are 3 major animals you need to be concerned with when you are in the woods. Number 1, bee sting. Bees kill more people in the United States than any other wildlife combined. If you're allergic to a bee, you will have an itchy sensation on your belly, itchy on your hands. You feel a little tickling in your throat. Your airway can be constricted in 15 to 30 minutes from a bee sting if you're highly allergic to a bee sting. This extractor kit works well on bee stings, fire ant bites. Fire ants are the number 2 killer in the southeast. And the third one would be, of course, snake bite. But snake bite is not that common. Matter of fact, more people in the United States get killed from lightning on 10 to 1 over a snake bite in the United States. So it's very uncommon to be bitten in the field. But if you do get bitten or stung, here's how you can get the venom out of your body while in the field. Now, I know a lot of you have seen these old westerns. The guy will get bit on the foot by a snake. The other man will come up with his Bowie knife and cut the thing, cut the 2 holes where the snake bit him, 2 little holes on his leg, and suck the venom out and blow it over on the side. That is a old-timey way of dealing with snake bite. It is also one of the best ways to lose your leg or appendage that got bitten, because when you got bit or stung, that little hole doesn't let a lot of bacteria in. But the human mouth is one of the dirtiest mouths on planet Earth. Next to a dog mouth is not even as dirty as a human mouth bite. We have some more bacteria than just about any other creature on this earth in our mouth. So if you were to cut that 2 holes where a snake was to bite you and then try to suck out the poison, you're immediately putting all your bacteria into that wound. And in the field, if you're far away from the hospital, you could get gangrene in that wound. You could get a serious infection, and it could cause that wound to develop into gangrene and cause you to lose a limb. So it's much more life-threatening to cut any kind of snake bite in the field and try to suck out the poison. But there is a way to do that safely, more safely, and more anesthetically and antiseptically, and it's this. This is called the extractor. Okay, it says extractor right on the side. The extractor kit includes a razor. If you were to get bit, let's say, on your hand while you're digging, you would shave the hairs on your hand or on the leg or wherever the snake bite occurred or envenomation site from a fire ant or bee occurred. Let's say you got a snake bite. There are 4 different kinds of cups in here. One kind of cup for a bee sting, small cup. Bigger cup for 2 fang holes from a pit viper, snake bite. Larger cup for larger envenomation site. And even larger cut for an extremely odd place on your body that may have a larger area of envenomation or allergic reaction. You take the extractor out of its kit, pull the plunger up. This is not a hypodermic needle. Nothing will go into your body at all. As a matter of fact, it's called the extractor because it works the opposite of a hypodermic needle. When you push down on this plunger, it creates a suction this way instead of pushing down like a syringe does. It works the reverse. This is a reverse syringe, they call this. You put a little cup on the end of the extractor. You put the extractor onto the snake bite site, and let's say it was on the back of my hand here. I've got to get it to make a suction. I've got my hair on there, so I'm not sure if it will. I push down on the extractor. It creates a small suction on my hand. It's not going to do it with my hair. I'm going to have to do it on the palm of my hand. I don't want to use a sterile product right now, so I'm going to pretend like I got bit on my hand here. When I push down on that device, it creates a suction. And that suction can be seen as a little ring of red skin. What it's doing is it's sucking the capillaries the red blood cells up to the top of my capillaries in the palm of my hand. It would also suck the venom out of a little pinprick, for example, bee sting hole. Instead of cutting that bee sting, you would just suck the venom right back out through the hole it went in. If the venom can go in your body, it can also come out. And as long as it doesn't hit a large artery or large vein where it's spread throughout your body very quickly, this is an excellent method to be able to help remove snake bite venom and make the reaction a whole lot less severe. Is it going to cause all the reaction to go away? Probably not. But can it help the reaction? Way, way better than doing nothing. Way, way better. So try this kind of kit. It's a very inexpensive kit. Probably costs less than $10 at your local department store. Very good common sense in the field, especially if you're on any kind of extended hike. Hey, this month's species of the month, everybody, is the cutest one we've ever had. This is a baby raccoon. He is the neatest little critter because he looks like a little bandit. See his little black eye patch he has on him right there? He also has got 5 fingers, look at there, and he can grasp a lot like humans can. He has very long claws, and he can eat just about whatever he wants. You want to say hey to everybody? Listen. Say hey. You can hear his little voice there. He's saying, hey daddy, it's time for me to be fed. Well, we're bottle feeding this little guy because we found him in our backyard. He fell out of a tree. We're going to bottle feed him till he gets his teeth big enough that we can release him. And we're going to release him after he gets a certain size. Hey buddy, as you can see, they're made to grasp on things. He is a better climber than he is walker at this stage. I'm clicking and purring right now, he's neat. And the mama would rub them on their back like that to make them feel comfortable, okay? That's how they also clean them. Now, I'm going to be real gentle with him and bring him up here on my legs so he doesn't slip off. Come here, Putty. It's okay. Go right there. But they're a precious little critter, and they are definitely one of the best survivors when they're adult age of any other animal. Because they are omnivores. Just like humans, they can eat plants and animals, and they can eat a lot of them. Let me tell you, they can eat just about whatever they want. They can raid your garbage cans. They can go out and they can eat just about any kind of yard waste. They can get into things. They can eat seeds and nuts and acorns. They can also eat fish along the edge of swamps. It's amazing all the different things they can get into and cause a little mischief. And also they can raid your camp at night. So if you're a camper and you leave out potato chips, the little bandits will come in. These guys get up about 20, 25 pounds when they're full grown, can get into your camp and raid your campsite. So they can be a little bit mischievous, but all in all, they're wonderful creatures to have in your habitats. I love having them around our house, which is where this one came from, and also as well as Playcard out here. We have a lot of raccoons in the area. So the little Ricky-Ticky bandit raccoon, I believe we called him the Velcro varmint in the building in there. I believe that was the other nickname for him, is our raccoon. Species of the month. So for all you people out there who are interested in wildlife rehabilitation, this guy's a pretty easy one to rehabilitate. The best thing to do with him though is not to try to do it on your own. Take them to the county animal shelter where they will help you. Also Ark Animal Hospital down in Murrells Inlet has got a certified wildlife rehabilitator that can help you out as well. But we kind of know a little bit about it, so we're helping take care of this guy until we can release him. You want to say bye to all the friends? We're getting ready to bottle feed him right now in just a minute. We feed him dog's milk. So say bye-bye. See if you can say anything. You say bye-bye. Can you say bye-bye? And he said bye. Bye. Hey, before our next episode, we'd like for the audience to get out there and do some research as part of this show. And we have several resources that we'll be printing on the bottom of our screen here at this section that will be www.websites that we're going to use as links from this video onto the World Wide Web. You can study about kids survival, wilderness survival, primitive survival skills, all those things on the internet. As well as there are hundreds of books out there that are on this subject. And if you're interested in primitive survival and wilderness survival like I am, and want to make it a good hobby for you or your children, there are 3 really good guides here that are a good starting place. One of them is called the Outdoor Survival Handbook. This is by Raymond Mears, and this is just a simple guide, the resources and materials available in the wild and how to use them for the food, shelter, warmth, and navigation. And this is a very good book. It's an extremely simple, easy to read guide, lots and lots of pictures. It's a really good book that you can pick up just about anywhere. Okay. Second book, How to Stay Alive in the Woods. This is by Bradford Angier. Angier. He is a really good author in the primitive survival skills. His information comes from the Hudson Bay Trading Corporation, which is an old fur trapper organization up in the Northwest United States, Pacific Northwest, and up in Canada. A lot of really good North Country experience comes in this book right here, as well as survival techniques in our area. The third book, Primitive Technology, a book of earth skills. This is from the Society of Primitive Technology, edited by David Westcott. Now, if you're interested in the Society for Primitive Technology, David Westcott and his compadre of people are basically the same people that came and trained Tom Hanks on his movie Castaway, how to do the fire plow. That's the people that the society that trained Tom Hanks how to do that in that movie. That's really cool. And this is an excellent book if you're interested in learning how to flint knap, do friction fire, any type of primitive spear making, weaponry, anything to do with cordage or shelter making, how to make your own shoes from natural materials, your own skins, how you make any type of natural shelters. Or pretty much everything, every subject of primitive survival is in this series of books. And once again, it's from the Society of Primitive Technology, edited by David Westcott. There is a museum just outside of, let me see if I can think about the town, Gastonia, North Carolina. And originally I'm from near there. That's where I grew up. Not Gastonia, but I'm from Hickory. And there is a primitive society technology museum up there called the Shiele Museum, S-H-I-E-L-E, Museum of Natural History. If you want to see some really cool exhibits and displays, it's a really neat place in Gastonia, North Carolina to go visit and learn about primitive technology. That's where we picked up this book. You can see a lot of those skills on display at that center, especially during festivals in the fall of the year, around that time of the year at that museum. So if you're interested, like I am, in primitive survival, wilderness survival, or any kind of outdoor hands-on techniques that may help you through a tough situation and make you self-reliant, look at those three guides as a good starting point, and then go from there to other internet resources, and anywhere your nose follows, anywhere your nose smells a lead, follow it and see what you can learn. You are your own best teacher when it comes to primitive and wilderness survival. Okay, so now we've had a look around. We're in the middle of nowhere. The light's going down. It's fading. We've got to make some decisions in the field so we can survive on our own for the next night. Okay? Nothing matters but getting through this next night. With the light going down, I need to make several decisions. Those decisions will be the first part of our next episode, and we'll show you how to use some of the equipment and materials that we've gone over in this episode to survive a few nights in the woods alone in the wilderness, especially here in the woods of South Carolina. Don't miss our show next month. For Forever Wild, this is Ben Rokiel Abercrombie. Have a good one, and happy surviving, everybody.
Oh.